Okay, this is the inside water heater, the interior water heater. There's two water heaters. There's one in the bedroom hallway, and we have a second water heater in a garage closet. And both of these water heaters are 40 gallons, and this one is 7 years old. By the way, water heaters last about 10. They last about 10 years. So 7, it's in the second half of an estimated 10-year service life average. The other one in the garage is 5 years. Now it's about midway through an estimated 7-year, 10-year service life average. Now either one of these might break tomorrow, okay? And either one of them might go 11 years or 12 years. But 10 is the average. This is something that's what Las Vegas, that's the odds that they give you. This one, we do not have a care and use manual. We do have a safety pan, unlike the one in the garage. We do not have a safety pan drain. If this thing floods, it's a 40-gallon water heater. That's not a 40-gallon pan. Where's it going to go? Oh, probably on your floor. All right. Got electronic ignition. We've got a sediment trap on here. So that's nice on the gas. That's all nice. This is the temperature pressure relief valve. Now, these are supposed to be replaced every 3 years. Nobody does that. I get that. Okay, I don't do mine either. But they're supposed to be replaced about every 3 years. This is a pretty safe bet that it wasn't replaced like it should have been. This valve is supposed to be insulated, and this piping is supposed to be insulated. If you fill this tank, it's cool to your touch. You don't need a blanket on your water heater. They're already insulated. You hold this, it burns your hand. Ow, ow, hot, hot. Okay, that's where all your money's going. You hold this, hot, hot. That's where all your money's going. So these should be insulated. Don't worry about a blanket. These pipes are supposed to have a vacuum breaker in the same room. City of Dallas. Okay, and I believe this is City of Dallas code. It applies to this. I believe it applies to Richardson. So, but anyway, it's also international residential code. You should have a vacuum breaker in the same room as the water heater. Personally, I don't like those. Personally, I think a vacuum breaker invites the opportunity for more water to get into your house. But I didn't make the rules. Nobody paid me to write that up, okay? So they're supposed to have a vacuum breaker in the same room. You're not supposed to have for more than 5 90-degree elbows, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes down, okay? 5. Goes out. Goes down again. That's 6. So unless something really creative has happened here, what I'm saying is it'd be reasonable to assume that this has 6 90-degree elbows at least, and that's one more than the 5 that's required. When we go outside, if you remember the outside video that we did, the first one at the front of the house, if you remember that, this is supposed to discharge between 6 and 3 inches towards the ground, and it doesn't. It's like 10 inches, something like that. So this discharge is too high. Now, I already mentioned that we don't have insulation on these. Now, this is just a reference note here, but that clamp right there, that clamp, Hillbilly Home Inspection, okay, that's your bonding. That's your bonding for your electrical system. And there's a note inside. It's kind of a convoluted note, but all the same, there's a note inside the electric service panel, your load center, that identifies it as being there and as such. So an electrician, if that note stays, electrician could read that and he'd know where to trace down your grounding for the house. The ventilation, unlike the other water heater, but this ventilation is properly done. Your return air, that's your makeup air, and that's your gas supply air. So what do we learn? We learned that we do not have a care and use manual. We learned that we do not have a safety pan drain line. We learned that our primary drain line does not have a vacuum breaker. We learned that our primary drain line has more than 5 90-degree bends on it. We learned that it discharges the water heater TMP valve discharges higher than 6 inches from the ground. We learned that our temperature pressure relief valve is not insulated. We learned that our water supply lines are not insulated. And I think I said care and use manual about 3 times already, but we don't have a care and use manual. So that's this water heater. It's one of two. We have 2 40-gallon water heaters. As we move through the house, just kind of put this down so we don't look at everybody's pictures and stuff. Okay? Not looking at people's pictures and stuff. Come in here to the garage. Remember the theater, Inspector Theater? It doesn't close. Mr. Fire can come on in. No problem. Welcome, Mr. Fire. Thank you, man. Okay, so this is the garage water heater. I cannot tell where this temperature pressure relief valve discharges to. I cannot ascertain where. Why? Because we have a little yard on the side of the house that's got a fence around it, and they got all kinds of lawn equipment just stored in there, just packed in there. And I actually did a Hail Mary, and I put the camera in there and kind of looked, and I also texted the listing agent asking for the key. Where would I find the key for that little yard out there? So if the other one discharges higher than 6 inches, it would be reasonable to assume that this temperature pressure relief valve discharges, probably, most likely discharges higher than 6 inches. This is the 5-year one, or is this the 7-year one? Either way. Now, there's something that I didn't say about the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and say that. This is called a draft hood. And on the other water heater we just left, the draft hood was not sitting level on the water heater. Now on this one, on your flue, see the tape? It's supposed to be mechanically fastened. You're not supposed to tape your water heater vent. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, so that's wrong. And then we got insulation on our water supply lines coming in here. We sure do. Got a valve. Well, I was kind of wondering. Okay, so we got insulation on there. Got a little bit of rust building up inside of there. It could fit a little better. All right. See this screen? That used to be the cat's pajamas. That was the cat's meow. Okay. But we don't have screens on these anymore because they get clogged with dust. They get clogged, and this is your makeup air like the other one that had the proper ventilation. This ventilation is a little less than proper. In this day, that was very, that was acceptable. That was desirable even, but not today. Not today. It's not like that. Coming on down. Again, it's 40 gallons. Sediment trap. Unlike the other one, we do have a care and use manual. Unlike the other one, we do not have a safety pan. If this water heater leaks, where's it going to go? It's just going to go on the ground. Do not store your wedding album on the floor in the garage next to the water heater closet. You probably wouldn't do that anyway. I get it. You probably didn't need me to say that. Okay, the water heater T&P drain, okay, it does not have a vacuum breaker in the same room as the water heater. Remember that? So what did we learn? We learned that we don't have a safety pan. We learned that we do not have a vacuum breaker. We learned that our drain line is not insulated. Our T&P valve is not insulated. We also, some discovery is it'd be reasonable to assume that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you do not have more than 5 90-degree bends. But you do not have the vacuum breaker. It's not insulated. The insulation on this piping, it should go closer to the water heater. And our vent in the, we got a screen up there. So cut the screen out and you'll be fine. And then the insulation will spill down in here. You'll be mad and stuff. And you'll say, I have to listen to him. Okay, but I'm just telling you what it's supposed to be.